That's what I thought of him back in the days when he got the Raiders job. Okay, he's that type of guy that he was a guru kind of guy. He didn't start at the lower levels. He didn't pay his dues, so to speak. He was put in the positions he was put in early on in his career because his father was Monty Kiffin, the great defensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who invented the Tampa 2 defense. So when Lane Kiffin first started coaching, I just looked at him as just a snot-nosed punk guy that the only reason he was there was because of daddy. And I think a lot of people felt that way too, especially I believe he was 30 or 32 years old and got the Raiders job. And that was an absolute disaster. And then he goes to Tennessee, stays for a year. That was a disaster. He left in a terrible way. Then he goes to USC and gets fired on the tarmac. That's how that worked out. And then he goes to the Nick Saban Home for Wayward Coaches. And that is what changed his life and changed his career as a coach. That is where he started to take coaching serious, I think. I think before it was all kind of luck and charm, right? But now you look at the way he's developed, those butt chewings that Nick Saban gave him on the sideline, the time he spent in those analyst rooms, the time he spent there with Nick Saban, with all those quality coaches that came through the Alabama program, are really what's helped Lane Kiffin. And I think, in my opinion, Lane Kiffin is a top 5 coach in college football. Yes, no, he has not won a championship. But just his innovation, the way he coordinates his offense, the way I've watched him go from what I thought he was 10, 12, 15 years ago to where he is now. I mean, he's really transformed himself as a coach. And now you watch his teams play. They're good on the lines of scrimmage, the run game, better in-game management, better decision-making. And a lot of that just very simply comes from Nick Saban. Not only from Nick Saban, but the good people that he was around in that building and a lot of trial and error. He has never had a quarterback that hasn't been successful. He took Blake Sims, was a running back at Alabama. And Blake Sims was one of the top passers in the conference that year. He has never been in a situation with an offense where he hasn't been able to find some way to be successful. And so that's why I consider him a guru, is because, yes, he was put in those positions before he was ready. But I also think that he had to learn those lessons the hard way. There's some people that you can talk to them and tell them and teach them. It doesn't matter. They have to learn. And I think that was for Lane Kiffin to crash and burn miserably at those early stops is what has helped him become one of the best coaches in college football.
Yeah,